All right, so we're live and you're welcome to this conversation. Yay, so guess who we have in the studio? And we have Boris finally. For the people on my Instagram, um, hmm, this is us doing Instagram live. All right, so all right, so Boris is here. Instagram live. All right. So, all right. So Boris is here. Instagram live. All right. So, all right. So Boris is here. All right, Boris. I can see you. All right, awesome. All right, Boris. I can see you. All right, awesome. Okay, Boris, I think there's an echo somewhere at your end.
How about now?
Yes, I think we're good. Awesome.
Okay, we solved it.
Okay, yay! Awesome, we're here. So we're here with Boris. So I'm going to just tell you a bit about Boris before we continue this conversation. But you know the interesting thing? When I met Boris and we started chatting on this conversation about Nigerians being, children studying abroad. In fact, one of the things he said to me was, I see a lot of this and I see it so evident in Nigerian children. There will be something, right? So, and we decided that this is a conversation that we want to open up.
Yeah.
So today, we're here with this conversation on what do I need to know for my child to actually go abroad and study. So I've heard people say things like, once I have money, my child can just go and study. Well, Boris is of the opinion that your money might not be able to do so much if you do not teach your child exactly what they should be doing. And something was actually very, very interesting with one of the things that he shared with me was how he had gone to a particular event, right? That was a convocation, an orientation in university.
Yeah.
Exactly. And he said that it was only Nigerians that had their parents in the room. that must really be something. Thank you, Boris, for agreeing to do this. This is a conversation that we must have.
Absolutely.
So we decided that we want to open up this conversation.
Yeah.
And then we are going to share on different aspects of this conversation. And we are hoping that Boris will come again so that we can continue these conversations as we go. So you're welcome here, Boris. So let me read a bit about Boris.
Okay.
So one of the things that he said to me when we met was that, just like many Nigerians, I came here with a one-way ticket. He didn't know that was actually very instructive for me. I came here with a one-way ticket. So don't think that I came and I had it all and I had it all figured out. But over the years, I started to learn, and that has taken me to a place where I launched my book and also have become so notable for what I do. So Boris Remes was an international student at age 16. So by 16 years, he had already become an international student. Please note, this conversation is about becoming an international student. So whether you're going to travel from the UK to Nigeria to come and study, you're an international student. Or you want to travel from Nigeria to Canada where Boris lives, you're an international student. All right? Thank you so much, Ife Andrew. Thank you, Onyinye, for joining us. And all the people who are joining us on Instagram. Yeah, I'm so excited about Instagram. This is our first Instagram live.
Is it? Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
So all right. So fast forward to today. Boris is now an award-winning educator, an entrepreneur. He's a speaker, and he's also a best-selling author. He has supported more than 1,000 international students who have had strong desire to pursue their dream in Canada. So over the years, many have asked him to share his strategies, tactics, and habits for personal and professional growth, which motivated him to publish his first book, Start Right. Success Habits, that's the success habit for international students, which now became an bestseller Amazon on the college guide. So we have Boris in the house.
Yeah. Awesome,
All
Wendy. Thank you
right.
so much for hosting me.
It's a pleasure, and thank you for agreeing to do this. So tell me a little bit. How did you get, how did you get to go for an international studies at 16?
Yeah, I think I was born in Kazakhstan, so I come from a Central Asian republic, landlocked country. My parents always had great aspirations for me as an eldest child in a family of three. They wanted me to have great international education because pursuing international education allows you to have better lifestyle, live in a different country, get a different residency, citizenship, and just grow. And so for them, that was their vision. And this is all started by me going for a summer program when I was 14. When I was 14, I first went to the United Kingdom for a short summer program. Then when I was 15, I went to France for a short summer program as well to work and improve my English. I mean, in Kazakhstan and in my family, we spoke Russian, so English is not my first language. And only when I was 16, the decision was made to send me to Canada. And many ask, well, why Canada? Canada is a fantastic country with a lot of opportunity. It's comfortable, it's safe, it provides quality education, and that's why over 650,000 international students are actually currently studying in Canada. So that was kind of a bit of a background story. My parents didn't know anyone in Canada. They've never been to Canada. They didn't have any friends, relatives, or whatnot. But they knew that when you choose among the destinations, you choose the best. And Canada was the best, not only from the program cost, but also from the ability to integrate and apply your knowledge, apply your education in the same country with a work visa after graduation, and also with a permanent residency and citizenship. And so I came to Canada when I was 16. I first studied in a boarding school, and it's actually a very smart decision for parents to first send their child for secondary school. So if possible, grade 11 and grade 12. This way you'll have much easier transition into a post-secondary, into university. I did my undergraduate studies in Bachelor's of Commerce from the University of British Columbia in Vancouver. And then I did my Master's of Business Administration from the Schulich School of Business at York University. So both are among the top business schools in Canada and among the best ones in the world. So that's a bit of a story, right? That's where I all started. It wasn't easy, and we can talk about the challenges that I faced as a former international student. I'm very proud to be now Canadian. I have a son who is 4.5. He's born Canadian, which is quite a evolution of this international student journey. And now my mission is very simple. My mission is to serve parents and students who have aspirations and motivations to study abroad and to have a better livelihood.
All right, awesome. I like where you started from. All right, and we're looking at a lot of things. Now, I think one very important thing I want to ask is about the ability to cope. Now, you talked about challenges. How is it? And you have also worked with a lot of international students currently. And one of the things you told me was that you have a very high rating of the children who are coming from Nigeria. Can you tell my audience more about that conversation? Really, I am really pretty much interested in this.
My experience working with Nigerian families started over, I would say, 6 years ago when I was working for a boarding school in Vancouver. and the goal was to have diverse student body, so to have students from all over the world, from Latin America, from Africa, from Eastern Europe, from Asia, and so on. And so at that point in time, I actually decided to travel to Nigeria. I applied for the visa. I got my visa, unfortunately arrived a day later, so I was never actually able to come to Nigeria. But since that moment on, I've supported Nigerian families on their journey to apply to boarding school, to university, and then also to transition to workforce and permanent residency and citizenship. And I would say Nigerian students have certain strengths and certain weaknesses. And I think that's very important to acknowledge those strengths and weaknesses. And so this would allow the student and the parents to emphasize on the strength and improve and, I guess, develop and address the weaknesses. That's kind of important to understand. I think one critical piece what I've seen during my years of working with families is that Nigerian parents are overprotective. And there is a term, I don't know if that's the term that is being used in Nigeria, but in Canada the term is helicopter parents. Is that something that is being used in Nigeria?
Yes, it's the same thing.
Okay. And so that tend to be quite Nigerian parents tend to be overly involved. And that poses a challenge because studying abroad requires, the prerequisites for this is to have a certain level of independence. And that includes independence, emotional independence, physical independence, and that requires preparation. And I think one thing I can leave with, advice I could give to the parents joining us today is that you need to help your child to develop that certain level of independence and let your child make certain mistakes on their journey, right? So when they come to a new environment, to a new country where they would need to do everything by themselves, right? They would be the ones who would need to talk to the university. They're the ones who would need to be dealing with employers. And that transition should actually start right now. That transition should start when you start thinking about sending your child to study abroad.
Awesome. And when you said Nigerian parents are overprotective, right? It's one of the things that a lot of people will say, okay, we just need to do more because our children are going abroad, so we just need to hover around them. So what do you think? What do you think? Why do you think that happens, really? Maybe that's the question we need to ask first.
Why does it happen? Why parents are overprotective?
Yeah, as in, yes. What have you seen that have really caused this, over the time that you have worked with a lot of Nigerian parents? I'm particularly very, very interested in Nigerian parents. I'm from Nigeria, of course, like and a lot of my audience are also Nigerian. So this will make a lot of meaning if we're able to, trickle it down to our society. And you have brought out something that is very, very, very key and pertinent to our parenting. The way we overprotect. And so can you help us share examples? Can you help us throw more light, on that?
Yeah, let's talk about this. I think it's a fantastic conversation. Any insights that I can offer to parents so they can become better parents serves my life mission, if I may to say. I think from my observation, what tend to happen is that Nigerian parents put a lot of pressure on their children, a lot of very high expectations, very, very high expectations. And what happens if their child doesn't meet their expectations, academically, for example, parents tend to step in and do things for their children, right? And that's not necessarily right. That's basically what I've seen is that parents are pushing their children into the subsequent stages of education while the child is not ready. Right? And that tends to happen more with boys than with girls. We know that boys tend to mature later than girls, right? And I'm talking about adolescence. We're talking about 14 to 18 years old and so on. What's important to realize in Canada, in North America, you're generally 18, 19 when you start your university. right? But to start your university, you need to have a certain level of maturity and a certain level of independence, right? And so an example that was quite opening for me was seeing father and mother with their child attending a first-year student orientation, while Canadian students already have saved up some money over the summer to pay for their own housing, right? And so it's quite different, right? There is quite a significant gap, and I think that's important to talk about this and to really figure out how to go about it, right? Because I guess if I were to add a few things here, in certain cases, up to 50% of students drop out from their degree. And it's quite significant, and it's emotionally expensive, it's financially expensive. And I really don't want this to happen, right? And in order for the student to be successful, I have a success formula, right? I write about this success formula in my book. I talk about my success formula, the formula that I've invented that works for me and works for the families I work with. There are three components into this success formula, right? First one, it's a mindset. Second thing is a habits. And third one is a mentor. So these are the three things you need to have at different stages of your life so you go to the next level. Life is a ladder that you climb, right? And so let's talk about the ladder and then talk about the elements of that success formula, right? So what is the ladder, right? Well, in the context of international education, I think the most aspirational goal for any parents, well, for motivated parents, right? For my parents, for example, is that their child, by going to study abroad, will ultimately become a global citizen. So what does it mean to become a global citizen? To become a global citizen means that you have multiple citizenships. It means that you're mobile. It means that you're multilingual. It means that you're adaptable to any environment. It means that you can work in multinational corporations in any country, whether you've been sent to work back in your home country or in any other country. That's the ultimate goal. That's in a way a freedom and a lifestyle. But to get to that, there are steps you need to take. Right? It's a ladder. And so in my journey, basically, I'll talk about my ladder, and that's the ladder I invite students to go on. And on each stage of the ladder, there are three things you need to do. So the stages in the ladder are the following. There are 10 stages. I have a 10-step start right system. The first stage is learning the language. I understand English is the first language in Nigeria, but I would say some universities would not accept students from Nigeria without an English proficiency test. And so if you don't practice your English academically, right, your children may not pass the English proficiency test, for example. Right? And so that is one component to keep in mind. Another component to keep in mind, Canada is bilingual. To be a global citizen, you need to be multilingual. So if you are good with English, then you should add French, or you should Chinese or Spanish or any other language for your child to learn. My son, at the age of 4.5, he is already trilingual, and I think this is quite important to start installing those language values earlier on. So that's the first stage. The next stage is going and experiencing the independence, meaning going and studying abroad for a short-term summer program. After that, it means the next stage would be going and studying for an academic program. After that, after you study on an academic program, that's the stage number 3, that would involve applying for a part-time job and internship. Then it follows to getting a full-time job offer while you're studying, followed by graduating from institution, then applying for permanent residency and citizenship. So there are different stages to this journey of ultimately becoming a global citizen. But the three things on each of these stages to actually go to the next level, you need to have a mindset. Parents need to have the mindset, the children needs to have a mindset. You need to have habits, the right habits, because the habits on this level will not take you to the next level. So you need to change your habits and make sure when you get to the next level, you get the right habits and not the bad habits. And I often see kids coming to Canada, they're independent, they're free, and they're getting the wrong habits. We can definitely talk about the bad habits that one can get. And the third component, which is critical, is having a mentor. I'm very grateful for having mentors at each phase of my life who actually coached me and helped me to move forward and saved me a lot of time and headaches. So it didn't take me years to figure out what I know now. And so that's what I would like to kind of install in parents, that there are three things that is important to go to the next level, which are mindset, habits, and mentorships. And then there is a defined path to success, to becoming a good, successful international student who can also become a global citizen. That's kind of my in a nutshell, what's the book is about and what I teach and what I practice.
All right, awesome. I'm enjoying this conversation. Interestingly, I just looked at time and it's already 23 minutes gone. Yay!
Cool. Easy.
Honestly, the time is just running, all right? But I would like to, ask this question so that we begin to also look at it.
Okay, let's do it.
What was your experience like when you first came to Canada? What are the things that you would like parents from your experience to begin to think for their children even before they take their children in to say, oh, I want my child to school in Canada? Because I know a lot of people who want their children to school in Canada today, but they're not taking the right steps. So they're now just bringing their children to Canada, dropping them there, and we have handled a lot of cases. That was one of the reasons why we actually decided that we needed parents to create awareness of the things that are needed, in the times where a parent needs to actually prepare the child to be in an international country, be it Canada, be it anywhere. I know we're speaking Canada because you are in Canada, and I know that a lot of Nigerian students, are also in Canada. But I want you to throw more light on, creating independence. So you have, shedded light that you have observed that a lot of Nigerian parents are very helicopterish, right? So, so we do not allow the children to, just grow, to be independent. We want to be able to do things for them at every level. That's another conversation for another day, I guess. But we want to know, what are the things that you see that parents should be able to, what should a child have before you say a child should or can survive, studying abroad? All right. So these are some of the things that people like me will want to know. What should a child have before they step out of the country to say we are going to study abroad? So some of those skills we want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there are three things from my professional experience and personal experience. I think there are three characteristics of a student which make him or her prepared for post-secondary studies or for studies abroad, right? And so the three important characteristics are, number one is self-direction. Number two is curiosity. And number three is a sense of purpose. I think these three characteristics, personal characteristics or personal traits, are the most critical, because if you don't have these, you're not prepared to go and study abroad. In fact, you're not prepared for the next phase in your life, whether it's going to study in a boarding school, university, master's, or even going and getting a job. So I think these are the three characteristics that needs to be developed, and there are different tools and exercises to develop these. But let's talk a little bit more. What are these three, right? So self-direction. What does self-direction mean? Self-direction means it is an ability to set goals for yourself, right? So your child should be able to set the goals and pursue these goals by himself or herself. There are different ways to set the goals. There are different tools, exercises, journals, and so on. There are different frameworks for goal setting, such as SMART framework. We can talk about different, we can dive in much deeper. But at a high level, if you're not able to set the goals and you know how to set goals and take baby steps toward these goals, you're not prepared for studying abroad. You're not prepared for post-secondary studies. So that's number one. Number two is curiosity. So what is curiosity? Well, curiosity, it's a very innate human characteristic. And me looking at my 4 years old son, oh my God, he's so curious, right? And the curiosity and is something that needs to be continuously nurtured, right? And in parents, I believe it's a responsibility of parents to make sure that their children stay curious and they encourage this curiosity, right? I know you talk a lot about with your audience about sex education and many other aspects. Well, this is curiosity, right? And children need to be safely guided through this journey of curiosity, right? But curiosity is important because you need to be curious to be successful in your studies as well. And finally, it's a sense of purpose. Well, what is a sense of purpose? Sense of purpose is knowing your why. So why is so important? Why you're waking up in the morning. If you don't know your why, you will not get up and go to your tough meetings or tough course or get to the lecture. And now so many students will have to take their program online. And listen, there is a significant time difference between North America and Nigeria, for example, and somebody would need to stay up at night to complete his or her courses. But why is important? Why is something that can take you from point A to point B, right? So what does it mean? If you know where you are at right now, if you know where you want to be, and your child knows where he or she wants to be, it's important to separate. You might have your own goals, and your child can have his or her own goals. That's also totally fine. Knowing the why would be the fuel in the engine that would actually take you from point A to point B. And so just to summarize, I believe the three characteristics that define a prepared student is self-direction, which is ability to set goals, curiosity, which is actually knowing, it's a desire, so it's a strong desire to know something, to have something, right? And finally, it's the why. It's a sense of purpose. Why are you doing what you're doing? And I think this is what, at this point in time, it's very important to differentiate. When I work with families, the way I work it is it's a triangle. There is the child, there is me, there's myself as a coach, as a mentor, and there are families. And it's completely fine where the goals of the parents and goals of the child can be different. And bridging this gap is so important to actually for the family to be functional in the context of going and studying abroad.
Thank you so much. That was quite a lot. When you were talking about self-direction, it was so apt for me. Curiosity and sense of purpose. So beyond just saying I have money to send my child abroad, the child himself should have these three things even before the child gets going. All right, challenges. What were the challenges that you faced when you got to Canada? What are the challenges that you think that a lot of children face, even if you didn't face them, just generally? What are the challenges that, yes?
Yeah, I think there are many things. I can talk about myself, I can talk about it in general. For me, in the first 2 weeks of my arrival to Canada, a few things happened that were quite dramatic. Everybody has dramatic events happening when they come into the new environment. That's called culture shock. It could be a small thing that could trigger you off. That I don't know. There might be no plantain in the store or whatever. It might be a little thing that could upset you, or it could be something major. In my case, and I talk about this extensively in the book. This book is my story that I very openly share. One is that I was misjudged as an international student because of my accent and because of my appearance. It was probably the first time in my life when I was quote unquote discriminated or racially profiled, and in the sense of an international student, I had to cope up with this and find a solution. How do I work on my English? How do I improve myself so I quote unquote fit in? That's one thing. And the other thing is that I was chased by a gang on the beach, right? I mean, Canada is safe, but for a few reasons, which I talk about in the book extensively, is that I had to kind of deal with the criminal side of of I don't know of studying abroad, and I had to find a solution how to protect myself and do it on my own, because I had two options. I could kind of tuck my tail between my legs and say, studying abroad is not for me. I'm not fluent in English. I don't know anyone. I have no protection. I have no security. I'll go back to Kazakhstan. Or I could stay and figure it out. And obviously I stayed, I figured it out. My parents didn't know what happened to me, but I did figure it out. So that was kind of my journey. And obviously the reason I wrote this book is that I want parents and students to spend time and money figuring out things on their own, because I already figured it out, and I'm gladly sharing this information with others. So that's my journey. The few things I would like to add in terms of what are the challenges international students are facing, I think if we talk about employment outcomes, right? International students pay 4 times more than Canadian students for obvious reasons. And we can talk about this, on some other occasion. They pay more, but the employment outcomes actually are not reflective of that. In fact, they earn less than the Canadian students, right? In some cases, $10,000 less per year than Canadian students, which is not right. And the reason it's happening is because international students lack the network and the networking skills. So if you don't have the network, and this is fine, you don't have to have a network. I mean, you don't have a network by default. But if you don't start building your network right here, right now, then you will be at a significant disadvantage when the time will come to start looking for a part-time job, for an internship, for a full-time job, and so on, because the competition is fierce. And what I teach in my programs is, well, how do you develop virtual networking skills? How do you build LinkedIn profile? How do you engage with your future, with the university admission staff, with the university recruiters, or with future employers? And I'm very fortunate to be on the back end of this, because I worked for over 10 years in private and public institutions. I was a director of admissions. I was the person who was deciding who gets into the school, into the university, and who does not. So it's good to have this background information. And also on the employment front, I'm very fortunate to have hired students to work for me at the university and for my company right now as well.
Awesome. These conversations are, getting really, really intense. And I'm even looking at the time. Are we going to have enough time to be able to finish all this? But let's see. And also a lot of people ask questions. I'm thinking that things like how do we get into the top, university in Canada? What can we study that can make people pay well, especially for international students? I'm thinking that we leave that conversation for the masterclass that comes on Sunday. So I'm hoping to bring Boris back on Sunday, where we're going to have an intense conversation at 8 p.m. on this same conversation. Because I realized that this time was very short for us to actually state that. So in that conversation, it's going to be a free access, and it's going to stream only on our YouTube channel, and then in our group on Facebook. In that conversation, Boris is going to share with us the strength, the weaknesses, the greatest myths of studying abroad, and then he's also going to share with us examples in real life terms, what he has seen Nigerian students do abroad that we need to begin to work on while we are here before we start shipping our children, off abroad. And he's also going to be sharing a lot about his book, How to Become a Permanent Resident in Canada. In case if you want to, you can reach out to Boris. He has all that. And then, we're also going to be looking at how to find the right agent and advisor, for a school in Canada for your children. Okay, so the strategies, the tips, that you can offer to parents and their children who want to study abroad. But before we go today, because we still have a bit of the time, while your questions coming,
okay,
because we've already done almost 40 minutes, but while your questions are coming in, so you can send in your questions and ask Boris the questions that he would answer maybe in the next 10 minutes before he signs out. But Boris, before the questions begin to trickle in, can you share with us when it comes to the myths of studying abroad? I think I like to know a few before you. I can't wait for Sunday for you to share all of it. Please, I I want to hear a bit of it before you do the masterclass on Sunday. I'm interested in hearing a bit of these meats. What are some of it? So if there are like 10, can you please share like 5 so that we can hear?
Well, I think there are so many things to share, right? And it's kind of I love to front load the stuff. I like to give the best and the juiciest things to the audience, right? So they just crave for more and they'd like to go dive in deeper, because I like going deep. I like really going down into the meaning of a word, let's say self-direction, and really then dissecting it and seeing how does it create meaning in different cultures for different people. So there is definitely a lot of conversation, quite a conversation to have. But if I were to say what I like sharing in a master class, and we'll have plenty of time for this, I like talking about kind of 3 secrets that nobody actually talks about, right? And everybody talks about, oh, studying abroad is exciting. It's for, you must save money for this. But listen, studying abroad is not for everyone. I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I'll be the first one to tell a family saying, listen, you are not ready, or your child is not ready. It doesn't matter. You might have you might have a lot of money in the bank account, but going and studying abroad is not for you. Or going and studying in Canada is not for you. I mean, being honest, being transparent is the key. And I think when we talk about selecting the agency, you need to have an agency who would kind of push back to you and say, listen, this is a horrible idea. Don't do that. And I tend to see a lot of educational agents who just in this for money, and their job is just to like ship off students to study in a school and get paid commission for what they do, right? But what I think there are 3 secrets and 3 things that people don't talk about is that, well, so secret number 1, getting into a school of your dreams, getting into university, does not mean that you will graduate. And that's kind of very important. There is a bit of that assumption that many parents have. It's like, well, if my son will get into a college or university, he will graduate. Well, that's not true, right? And we'll talk about that. It might be the case in Nigeria. In Nigeria, maybe if you got into school and you kind of, know people around and, you stay connected, you may graduate, you get a piece of paper. Doesn't work in Canada. It doesn't work in North American institutions. Second thing, if you graduate, it does not, and even if you graduate with excellent grades, and I've seen that happen, top of the class, it does not mean that you will get a job. Because getting a job, hustling for a job, presenting yourself, not selling yourself short, that's an issue with international students, is a challenge. And that's something that parents need to understand and students need to understand as well. And then the third thing is that even if you get the job of your dreams, and that that is tied to what you have studied in the university, it does not mean that you will qualify for permanent residency, and it doesn't even mean that you will earn enough money to have a good and comfortable lifestyle in Canada, which many parents and students go after in the first place. So those are kind of the things we'll talk about in more detail on Sunday.
Wow. Okay, I think this last part, as in, I'm so itchy to hear, when you said studying abroad is not for everyone. It was actually very, very, very instructive. I can see that we're having a bit of a connection issue on our Instagram page, but that I'm sure will be rectified. But we're still on the YouTube channel. So yes. So you said something that is very, very instructive. Studying abroad is not for everybody, and I think that. Oh, okay. Sorry, it ended. All right. Okay, so we're going back on Instagram. All right. So studying abroad is not for everybody. Like Boris said, Boris was very, very, very specific on this. All right. Boris, there's an echo at your end. You might want to look at that. All right. So these are the things that we're going to be looking at. Again, when we come up on Sunday to look at the masterclass, where Boris is going to dive in depth on some of the things that he has said today. So if you, by in any way, by any chance want to send your child abroad, in fact, I have learned some things. He said, if your child does not have self-direction, does not have curiosity, and does not have a sense of purpose, please do not send them abroad to study. All right. You want to know more about this conversation? You will like to be at the masterclass that is happening on Sunday. It's free. It's just going to stream live on our YouTube channel. So if you log in and you also follow us on Instagram, you will see all the details. If you're already on our YouTube channel, turn on your notification. And if you're just seeing this for the first time, turn on your notification, subscribe, so that we will alert you as soon as we go live on this conversation. This is such an enlightening conversation. In fact, there are so many things that Boris have said here that I haven't thought of, really. And then, one thing that is pretty striking is when he said that there are a lot of helicopter parents in Nigeria. Does that give you something to think of? It simply means that we're not building enough independent children who are able to actually stand on their own when they get abroad. That is something that every single one of us will want to look and think through. My process, what is happening to it currently? How am I supposed to resolve this process? What exactly is it that I'm doing that will make my child not to be independent enough to be able to study in a foreign country? Thank you so much, Boris, because I can see that this conversation, a lot of people, dived into it. So, but share with us, well, because I can't see many questions, but I'm sure that a lot of the questions that we have will be answered right here on Sunday. Please go on our YouTube channel. If you are on Instagram seeing us, please just go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, turn on your notification, because that will be where this masterclass will stream live, and only on our YouTube channel and in the group, The Intentional Parent on Facebook. So it's going to stream live simultaneously like we do for most of our programs. But today, if you didn't remember anything, remember that one of the things that your child must do is to understand language values, experience independence. And the three core things every child must have before you ship them abroad is that they must have self-direction, they must be curious, and they must have a sense of purpose. If your child does not have any of this, that means your child should not be abroad studying. Yes? And then Boris said something so instructive. Studying abroad is not for everybody. Do you want to learn more about it? I'm sure you want to be at that masterclass where Boris is going to give it intense. Boris is going to own the class. He's going to bring out his slides. I'm not going to be speaking. He's going to bring out, all it takes to be able to take you through everything that you need as required, as regards your children being in the international circle learning. So be here with us at 8 p.m. right on our YouTube channel and in the group, The Intentional Parent Facebook, so you can invite people. You can also join us if you're watching on Instagram. So we're going to stream live on that masterclass on YouTube channel so that we'll be able to also share slides. That's why actually one of the reasons why we are going to be doing that. So we share slides and Boris will share from his in-depth knowledge. So my note is full. This is my note. I took a lot of things down, and you don't want to miss that class. Thank you for being here with me. Boris, so what are the last words that you would like to give to parents today?
Well, for the parents who are streaming us right now and who are motivated, and well, what I believe in, I'll say two words. What I believe in is that to achieve any result, to realize your potential as a parent, you need to take an action. I believe in taking a massive action. And so if the information that we are sharing is relevant and it resonates with you and it's important to you and what you're learning is insightful, well, then you can prepare for the masterclass by actually getting a copy of the book, right? And start reading and learning, because that's probably the best way to do it. It's I wish there was a guide when I came to Canada that written by someone who actually blazed this trail, who actually went from came on a one-way ticket to becoming a Canadian citizen, successful family man, and so on and so forth. I would love to, sit down and read 139 pages and say, okay, it makes sense, right? And so for the parents who are watching and who are saying, yes, I want to be prepared, I want my child to be super, super successful, then, I think what we need to do is to drop a link for the parents to grab a copy of the book or copy of the ebook, and we'll talk more about this on Sunday. But you can get ready and start reading the book and getting ready even before.
Awesome. So if you want to join Boris, you can join Boris. Right, you can join Boris and I on Sunday. Like I said, I won't be speaking so much. I will just do the introduction and Boris takes the field, because I'll also be in the studio trying to learn what he's sharing on that day. A lot of the things that he shared today, I haven't heard them and I haven't seen them in that life. Thank you so much again, Boris, for being here. I am so excited that you agreed to do this. So we look forward to Sunday. Some parents are already saying, I look forward to the masterclass on Sunday, and I look forward to it as well. So on Sunday, we're going to be here streaming live on our YouTube channel and into our Facebook group. So do you know any parent that you want to hear this? Share this video with them. Tag them to this video. Let them get to see this. Invite them to the group. Let them get to see this. And, then we will take it from there. Thank you so much again for being here with me. And do have an amazing evening. Thank you so much, Boris.
Thank you.
I know it's about 3 p.m. your time. Thank you for doing this. And
pleasure.
See you on Sunday.
See you on Sunday.